How's it going? I'm Johnny Floegel from Uncle Larry Outdoors. Sitting here with a Fat Boy Double IPA from Big Elm Brewery in Sheffield, Massachusetts. See how this is. I'm a notoriously bad pourer, honestly. So we'll see how this goes. We're out here in western Massachusetts. Beautiful river. Got some fishing in today. So it's good to have a drink. Let me finish the top off real quick. Alright. We'll enjoy the rest. Thank you, Jared Renzi, by the way, having me on. So, I have this little side hustle. Call it what you want. Uncle Larry Outdoors. Really the goal is to go out and promote exploration. I had an Uncle Larry who really helped get me into fishing, get me into the outdoors, even just through conversation and showing me the things he used to do when he was younger. And I only actually got to fish with him one time. But that sort of mindset and mentality really is what inspired me to start the page, make it into what it is so far today. So there was a particular moment in my fishing history that actually changed my mindset, changed the way I looked at the sport, ended up inspiring me to create the sort of content we've been trying to come out with lately. And that was this one moment. I was in high school. I must have been about 16 or 17. And I went down to Johns Hopkins. I was playing baseball, and I was doing a showcase tryout, call it what you want, for the Blue Jays. And when I was down there, this is right around the time I had really started to get into the sport. I was fishing a lot, but I still didn't really know what I was doing. The one thing I did know how to do is cast Senkos into local ponds, pull out little 1-2 pound largemouth. But I was just hooked, I was obsessed. So my dad drives me down to Baltimore, staying at this place night before the showcase. The showcase is from like 8 to 2 each day, something like that. So I had a whole afternoon in Baltimore. So all I really wanted to do at this time was fish. That's all I wanted to do with my free time. And so I find this pond in like downtown Baltimore at a park pretty deep into the inner city. And I get to this park. Someone said on like Fish Brain or something that they had caught like a bass. And I'm like, well, you know, there's got to be something in there. We get there and I'm looking around and it's disgusting. I'm like, there's just no chance that there are any fish in here whatsoever. So I remember I had 2 rods. I brought one for myself. I brought an extra one for my dad. And I just tie on like 2 circle hooks. So all I had to do was reel in with like 4-inch watermelon red flake Senkos. That was all I knew how to use. Threw that exclusively for like a year. And we're at this park. It's gross. It was like 95 degrees in Baltimore. There's algae everywhere. There's like sewer rats and muskrats that I'd never even seen. Like just gigantic rats. And I'm just not feeling it, but I'm really determined at the same time. So I'm walking around this park, and there's like a public pool down by the pond. And some kid walks up from it. He must have been like 9-10 years old. And he starts talking to my dad and myself about fishing. And he had never been outside of Baltimore. He had never seen any lakes or rivers outside of the Chesapeake area where the city was, and, you know, like these ponds, which were essentially the Central Park ponds, but 10 times grosser. And he's talking to my dad about it. Again, he's maybe 10. He's never seen anyone fishing before. He's literally never seen it. And I'm looking at him, and I talked to him, you know, I was friendly for like 5-10 minutes, but I'm so locked in, the 16-year-old me, I need to go catch a fish tonight. And I'm walking around the pond, and I see my dad, who really doesn't know anything about fishing, to be honest. Like, he knows the very basics. Showing this kid how to cast, how to reel in, and how to put the Senko on the hook. And I'm watching him, and just kind of out of the corner of my eye. And I'm hustling hard all around the pond. And I get about halfway around the pond. I'm not fishing with them anymore. I honestly have the nicer pole, the nicer reel, all that. So my dad's giving him what he's using. And this kid, first cast, right into the middle of the algae, total dead spot on the pond. Hadn't seen any life. 2-pound largemouth. Just never picked up a rod in his life. And he brings this thing in, and I'll just never forget, like, I could see his smile on his face. It was huge. And then I could see the smile on my dad's face was even bigger. And I'm halfway around the pond trying to catch my own fish. And they're sharing this moment over there. And it was just it was really inspirational just to see this kid on his first ever cast, the middle of downtown inner city Baltimore, hooking into a 2-pound largemouth. And there's been days where I'm out at a place like this and don't get a bite. So that was a miracle in itself. But then to see them share that moment together and have that much happiness in someone watching somebody else find success in fishing, that was pretty special to me. And kind of from that moment forward, I'd always looked at fishing as more of like a pay it forward type sport, where I get more enjoyment out of taking somebody out and seeing them find success than I do in catching my own fish. Which is really the inspiration behind the whole Uncle Larry's brand and everything we've tried to do with that. Is Uncle Larry was sort of the guy who did that for me. My dad was sort of that figure for this kid in Baltimore, fishing-wise. And now we just want everyone who understands what the sport brings to be that figure for somebody else. Anyways, that's my Game&Grog story. The grog has been great. We had an unbelievable day with the game, and thank you, Renzi, for having me on. Cheers. Tight lines, everybody.